right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Tonight, a stolen semi crashes into a school.
That's just scary, especially at a school.
Witnesses say the suspect tried to carjack a mom before taking off.
Warm Wednesday. It should be equally as nice as it was Tuesday. The change is coming for the first half of the weekend.
But first, Kim Gardner responds. Today, the embattled circuit attorney asks a judge to throw out the case to remove her from office. Gardner's response was filed just a few hours ago. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. It comes a week before she's scheduled to go to court. New tonight, our Brent Solomon is taking a closer look at how the circuit attorney is responding to the attorney general's claims against her. Brent?
And I just finished pouring through those 93 pages, the response, and the 40 pages to throw out the case. Kim Gardner claims only 2 prosecutors have been removed from office under the legal guidelines the AG is citing against her. She says that was 8 decades ago, involving cases of corruption. Gardner says that doesn't apply here. Attorney General Andrew Bailey not backing down in his fight to oust St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner, claiming she's not doing her job. Bailey says nearly 12,000 criminal cases have been dismissed to what he calls Gardner's failures. More than 9,000 cases, he says, were thrown out as they were about to go to trial, forcing judges to dismiss more than 2,000 cases due to what Bailey cites as Gardner's failure to provide defendants with evidence and speedy trials. He claims a toxic environment is running attorneys away from her office. His amended petition is a gross power grab, Gardner responded Tuesday, quote, an affront to the liberties of all Missourians and the democratic process. The circuit attorney says the law allows for removal of an elected official for willful neglect, failure, or refusal to perform duties. Gardner says there is no corrupt intentional acts of misconduct or failure to perform her official duties. She goes on to say, quote, if the AG or the political interests behind his petition were truly concerned about crime in St. Louis, they would seek to assist with resources. While covering this ongoing battle, we've heard from both Bailey and Gardner.
It has rarely occurred in the history of the state of Missouri, but that speaks to what a bad situation we have here in the city of St. Louis and the necessity for immediate action to restore law and order and to find justice for victims. And that's what motivates me.
Because this is voter suppression from the 1960s. I read about this in school, and I'm like, they're taking it back. It's tough sometimes, but in the end of the day, I fight so hard because you guys told me you don't want the same old.
Bailey also alleges Gardner's attorneys have failed to appear in court, failed to keep victims' families informed about cases, and that cases police have worked on continue to wait on prosecutors to review them. Gardner says at most there could be alleged negligence, but not willful neglect.
Brent, thanks. We are following breaking news tonight out of Hazelwood. Police are on the scene of a double homicide near Laddie Avenue and Berkridge Court. We're told a suspect is in custody. We have a crew on the way to the scene. We'll bring you more on air and on the 5 on Your Side app as soon as it becomes available.
Tonight, a man is in jail accused of leading police on a chase in a stolen semi from Minnesota. It was down I-64 from St. Charles County to Town and Country. State troopers tell our Robert Townsend the suspect also tried to carjack a mom and her young daughter before they arrested him right near the elementary school.
It sounds like something out of a wild movie.
I saw it westbound on 64 in the O'Fallon area between 94 and Winghaven Boulevard.
Around 5 this afternoon, this eagle-eyed master sergeant with the Missouri State Highway Patrol got the radio call. Investigators say a man stole a tractor from Minnesota, drove 500 miles to Missouri.
We pursued it as safely as we could.
And once he saw police and troopers in St. Louis County were hot on his trails.
Out west towards Lake St. Louis first, then it flipped and came east on 64.
Investigators say the unarmed suspected semi-truck thief refused to stop.
Probably 75 to 80 miles an hour.
Troopers say officials at the Minnesota company used a GPS system to track their stolen big rig and alert Missouri State Highway Patrol.
He'd already avoided 2 sets of spike strips.
Investigators tell us the runaway driver immediately pulled up to this school and hopped out of his running wheels. The truck pushed aside a dumpster and crashed into this building at Mason Ridge Elementary School in Town and Country. On the other side, thankfully, an empty classroom, but the stolen tractor tail not over.
He jumped into a woman's van. She probably had a daughter that was 5 or 6. She started screaming, and then the cops just started running.
About a dozen officers ran after the man and finally arrested him at a nearby soccer field.
It was just shocking.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
School officials say 19 students were inside the building at the time of the crash, and 3 adults were inside Mason Ridge Elementary. No one was hurt. Tonight, the 31-year-old Minnesota man is in the St. Charles County Jail.
Developing tonight, police are investigating a deadly shooting in North St. Louis. A 20-year-old man was found shot near the intersection of Glasgow and Gamble Street in the Jeff Vanderloo neighborhood. Police have not released any other details. We'll continue to monitor this story, too, and provide updates on air and online on KSDK.com. Tonight, we've learned the name of the victim who died in a house fire in Afton. Firefighters responded to the 8300 block of South Laclede Station Road just before 9 last night. They found 58-year-old Gene Utrecht unconscious inside. He later died at the hospital. Investigators believe the fire started in the kitchen and was an accident. While it was an exciting night for St. Louis soccer fans, tonight City Park hosted the U.S. women's national team and the Republic of Ireland.
It is the last international friendly match for Team USA ahead of the Women's World Cup in July. Our Laura Barczewski is live from City Park, and she talked with the next generation of players who came out to watch. Laura.
Mike and Ann, the young girls I talked to today were really so inspired by this U.S. women's national team, and they're shooting for the stars, hoping they might play here one day. Soccer fans packed City Park to cheer on the U.S. women's national team. Scott Gallagher's soccer star Grace Restovich says it's a dream come true to be here watching this match.
I have number 16 Roosevelt on, so I've been watching her since I've been little, and she's been my favorite player. And just seeing them, how they've developed the game, and it's been awesome.
Restovich says soccer means everything to her and her family.
It's a sport I've grown up playing my whole life. My whole family plays it, my little sister, my mom. So being able to see players out there like today, and being on the youth national team and then playing all throughout my days has been awesome. So it's definitely inspiring to be out there and somewhere you want to be when you get older.
The friendly match brought out lots of families hoping to fuel the dreams of young girls like the Rogers family.
It's really cool to see not only role models, but strong women who are out there just like supporting them, and then what they believe and what they stand for as well. It's really fun to see these women on the field, also great people off the field too.
Even a whole team of girls soccer players and their coach from Canton, Missouri made the roughly 2.5-hour trip to be part of this special game.
I think it's a great opportunity, once in a lifetime opportunity for these young ladies to be able to experience and to be able to see soccer at the next level, even like the highest level.
Senior Canton player Delaney Pierce is just one of many hoping to fill some really big shoes on the national stage someday.
To see that they came from a high school team like this and they eventually made it that far in life is amazing to me.
The U.S. women's national team won today 1-0, and this gives them some pretty good momentum as they take the world stage for the World Cup soon in July. Reporting live from City Park, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
Tonight, St. Louis's hometown brew is brewing up controversy. Anheuser-Busch is facing criticism for its new partnership with a transgender influencer. Brandon Lewis from our Verify team looks into claims the backlash has forced the company's CEO to resign.
On April 1st, influencer Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light announced a partnership.
I got some Bud Lights for us.
Bud Light put her face on the side of cans, and Mulvaney promoted the beer on her platforms. Bud Light then received intense backlash online, including in posts with millions of views from country music artists Travis Tritt, John Rich, and Kid Rock, because Mulvaney is transgender. A viral article published by the Dunning-Kruger Times claims the response prompted the CEO of Bud Light's parent company, Anheuser-Busch, to resign. So, let's verify. Did Anheuser-Busch's CEO resign over the company's partnership with Dylan Mulvaney? Our sources are Anheuser-Busch and the online publishing company, America's Last Line of Defense. The Dunning-Kruger Times article says Anheuser-Busch's CEO is Augustus Anheuser III, but that's not the name of the company's CEO. It's actually Brendan Whitworth. The company tells Verify he's been the CEO for nearly 2 years and is still in that role. Whitworth also looks nothing like the image used in the Dunning-Kruger article. A reverse image search using Revi shows this person is actually disgraced Penn State football coach Jerry Sandusky, who was convicted of 45 counts of child sexual abuse. The Dunning-Kruger Times is owned by America's Last Line of Defense, a satirical network of websites that says everything on this website is fiction. It is not a lie, and it is not fake news because it is not real. So, no, Anheuser-Busch's CEO did not resign over the company's partnership with Dylan Mulvaney. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
What can we verify for you? Send an email. The email address, verify@ksdk.com.
It's a shocking statistic. Guns are now the leading cause of death among kids.
Why are we waiting on the government to do anything?
Tonight, the debate on gun laws in Missouri, the I-Team getting answers from state lawmakers.
After a bumpy start to the month with that stormy weather, we're now in a nice stretch. I'll show you when that changes in 7 minutes.
Tonight, we're getting our first look at new body cam footage from the police officers confronting the gunman in yesterday's shooting at a Louisville bank that killed 5 people.
And 8 others were hurt, including one of the officers who is in critical condition tonight. We want to warn you, this video may be disturbing to some viewers. The video was released about 3 hours ago. It shows 2 officers approaching the bank where the shooter was already firing shots, striking one of the officers in the head while the other took cover. Investigators say the 25-year-old shooter had an AR-15 rifle he bought legally a few days before the shooting. He was a current employee at the bank and knew the people he targeted.
We know he left a note. We know he texted or called at least one person to let them know he was suicidal and contemplating harm.
A citywide vigil is scheduled for tomorrow night.
Just 2 weeks ago, 3 9-year-olds were killed at a school shooting in Nashville. And according to the New England Journal of Medicine, guns are now the #1 cause of death of American children and teenagers.
Last year in Metro St. Louis, a child or teen was shot roughly every 2.5 days. Tonight, the I-Team's Paula Vassan looks into gun-related legislation filed in our state and breaks down the bills up for a vote.
Anytime I see a school shooting, it affects me. Like, it affects my daughter. Like, we both are in therapy for it.
When Danita Watkins saw the news 2 weeks ago about another mass shooting, this time at a school in Nashville, it was like reliving the nightmare.
You remember everything that happened.
Like this text message from her 16-year-old daughter, Tori Jefferson.
Mama, they shooting. It's an intruder.
When a shooter came into her health class back in October with an AR-15 rifle and 600 rounds of ammunition, she was shot in her leg and jumped from the 3rd floor to escape.
She fractured her spinal. So now she got back pains for the rest of her life. Why are we waiting on the government to do anything?
With gun violence being the #1 killer of American children, what's our government doing about it? We analyzed over 40 gun-related bills filed in the Missouri House over the last few months.
Democrats in the super minority say most of their bills aimed at gun violence prevention don't get anywhere.
All those in favor say aye.
The ones the House Speaker calls for a vote are Republican bills that would make guns more accessible. Among the bills on the table, legislation that would allow firearms in public transit and churches. Others would restrict law enforcement in Missouri from temporarily removing a firearm from someone posing an extreme risk to themselves or society. The bill's sponsor, Maisie Boyd, says it would protect law-abiding gun owners from having their firearms seized. She declined an interview on camera, but told us in an email, guns are not the leading cause of children dying in this country, as almost 1 million babies are aborted every year. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Another bill would cut taxes on firearms and ammunition. If it passes, it would make Missouri the only state in the country to tax food but not guns. These bills were all filed months after the St. Louis school shooting in October. Many Republicans believe these steps would protect our freedoms.
Focusing the conversation on different ways to restrict gun ownership from law-abiding citizens is not a path that we want for success.
I just think that it's time to stop playing political football with these issues and start looking, from our point of view, at the children that they're impacting.
George Sells is a spokesperson with St. Louis Public Schools.
What are you doing as a school right now to keep kids safe?
As the district goes, we've got a large security force. And as far as mental health goes, counselors are available, particularly here at CVPA and CSMB.
But he says there's an unpredictable factor he can't control, one that threatens students every day: access to firearms. Research from the New England Journal of Medicine shows guns are now killing more children and teens than drug overdoses, cancer, or car crashes. In 2022, the Gun Violence Archive reported that 1,676 children were killed in gun-related deaths, the highest number the nonprofit has ever recorded.
We're moving forward, and I just hope my daughter never has to be a victim of crime again.
The House bills we told you about in this report would allow guns in both public transit and churches, and would ban red flag laws. They've been passed out of committee. They still need to pass through the Senate. The Senate bill that would cut taxes on guns has been passed out of the Senate. Now it has to go through the House. If you have an investigative tip on this topic or anything else, email me directly at paula@ksdk.com. For the I-Team, Paula Basan, 5 on your side.
Paula also reached out to U.S. Senators from Missouri, Josh Hawley and Eric Schmidt. She also reached out to all of the lawmakers who sponsored the bills profiled in the report. No one agreed to interviews.
The fight for gun legislation continues tonight in Tennessee. Governor Bill Lee urging state lawmakers to put politics aside to pass what he calls thoughtful, practical measures like stronger background checks.
I believe that this will protect victims, that it'll hold dangerous people accountable and away from firearms, and that it'll preserve constitutional rights at the same time.
Governor Lee wants a bill passed before the current legislation session ends in a few weeks. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joined us now with this weather first forecast, and let's just hope this continues because the weather's been fantastic.
And I love seeing all these pink blossoms and white blossoms everywhere.
Everything's just budding out and blooming, and spring busting out all over, right? Judy shared this picture with us. That is your beautiful eastern redbud, and they are blooming all across the St. Louis area. Judy was in the park at Festus when she spotted that, took a picture, and it's just been gorgeous as you look at the afternoon, evening hours here. Sun setting over Forest Park this evening. Some nice color in the sky as the sun was setting. But the sun sets on a day when the temperature climbed above 80 degrees again in St. Louis. 81 for our top temperature today. The average high 67. So while we're not in record territory, we're certainly well above average. So far for the month, running about 4.5 degrees above average. Overnight tonight, temperatures are not dropping all that much. We're still in the upper 60s, close to 70 in the urban corridor right now. Outlying areas have cooled back a little bit into the middle 60s. Almost all of us will stay above 50 degrees, at least close to St. Louis tonight. There'll be some spots that do drop into the 40s going farther south of town. 69 is the current temperature. The dew point's 39, so the air is still fairly dry. The coolest spots will be where the winds become calm overnight tonight. Fredericktown, Perryville, over towards Mount Vernon. Likely to see those temperatures dropping back into the upper 40s. Skies pretty much clear from St. Louis all the way back through Kansas, Nebraska. Get some clouds here coming through the Great Lakes, and the back edge of that cloud cover trying to nudge down along the Mississippi River out of Iowa probably doesn't have much of an impact on us, but we might see a couple of clouds here and there. Very unsettled though along the Gulf Coast states, and this system down to the south is going to stay stuck down there for the next couple of days. So very little in the way of impact for us other than it's holding things up. And you have to wait until this weekend before that weather system, now pushing into the Pacific Northwest, gets here. That means another gorgeous day tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine. You'll be back into the mid-70s by lunchtime tomorrow. Enjoy it while it's here, because as we head towards the weekend, of course, just in time for the weekend, changes happening. Here comes that next weather system in from the west. Our chances for showers and thunderstorms increasing a bit through the day on Saturday into Saturday evening. There is a small threat that we may have some stronger storms with this, but it doesn't look like it's a widespread severe weather threat. And the rainfall amounts generally on the low side with this. So we've been dry this week, probably less than a half an inch in most spots. In fact, some of us may struggle to get more than 1/4 inch of rain on Saturday. After that, a few more dry days, a little bit cooler, and then towards the middle and end of next week, some more rain chances for the area. But the next 3 days, dry, incredibly nice for St. Louis.
All right, Scott, thank you. Here's Frank.
The Cardinals and Colorado in a Coors Field Classic kind of game. Becky Sauerbrunn had a night to remember. And wait till you hear what Coach Drinkwitz told me about the NIL tonight.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
Sometimes a single moment can change the course of a season. I'm not saying that's the case here. I am saying Nolan Arenado's at-bat in the 7th inning could loom awfully large for this ball club. Without it, who knows how we would be feeling tonight. The first hitter of the game was Tommy Edman, and he goes opposite field for a solo shot, and it's 1-0 Cardinals. Juan Yepez later joined the home run parade with a scorching shot to left, and it's 2-0 Cardinals. But the Rockies exploded for 5 in the 5th off Miles Michaelis. Back-to-back homers by C.J. Cron and Ryan McMahon. They led it 6-2, but the Cardinals will chip away. Jordan Walker extends the hitting streak to 11 games with a shot to left. And here it is. Later in the inning, one of the biggest hits of the year. Arenado will blast one to left with the bases loaded, 3 score, and we are tied at 6. How about that? Top 9, Nolan Gorman goes yard. Solo shot, Cardinals win it 9-6. One team who won't lose, the Rays. Tonight they move to 11-0 on the season. Brandon Lowe homered for the 4th straight game. They have 29 homers in 11 games. And the Rays beat the Red Sox 7-2. The all-time record is 20 in a row by the St. Louis Maroons in 1884. So very few times in life do we get to take a victory lap or take a bow in front of people who genuinely love you. The schedule rarely works out like that, and we're always way too busy sometimes to express appreciation. But tonight at City Park, it happened for our most decorated female soccer player ever. Becky Sauerbrunn, the pride of Ladue, in the sunset of her career, likely playing her last game in St. Louis, her 200th international competition game, surrounded by family and friends. How about that moment? 1 goal in the game, Lena Cook lobbed one from 45 yards out. The USA team beats Ireland 1-0. The night was about Becky.
I was very happy that that she was able to celebrate her 200 cap in her city in St. Louis, even though the plan was for her not to play the second game. We instrumented something because a legend like Becky deserves that.
Awesome. The Mizzou Athletic Department came to town tonight to promote their name, image, and likeness endeavor. How big is NIL? A prominent coach told me the first thing recruits ask nowadays are 2 words: how much? Some who may have resisted the concept initially are now forced to embrace it. For many elite athletes, getting a full scholarship is not enough anymore. And now coaches have to play the role of general managers in the distribution of NIL funds.
Every player has created value for themselves through name, image, and likeness, and we're trying to figure out how to build the best possible roster that we can. Very similar to how Moneyball is built. Like, we got to build a certain number of touchdowns, a certain number of people to protect the offensive lineman, a certain number of people to create pressure on the quarterback on the defensive side of the ball. So every one of those positions have some sort of value that we're trying to create.
It's kind of like what we have here at Channel 5. Bush and Allred, give them expensive cars. Cusimano, a ham sandwich.
Yeah. You are so full of it. Can they have agents now in college or no?
No.
You're still not allowed to have those?
No, you still can't do that.
Huh, that's not really fair. All right.
It may be coming. Are you looking to catch a Cardinals game? The low price right now to snag a seat at Busch.
Groove to the beat as Music at the Intersection returns in September for its 3rd year at the Grand Center Arts District. Organizers announced the lineup today. Headliners include St. Louis rapper Smino, Thundercat, and more. The festival features blues, jazz, hip-hop, and rock artists.
Heads up, Cardinal fans. The Cardinals and Tums are teaming up for a special discount ticket offer. Right now on the team's website, you can buy tickets to watch the Cardinals take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's April 17th through the 19th for just $5.
Tickets go on sale this week for House of Cheer, the Level Up Tour. Top athletes from the docuseries Cheer, members from Team USA Cheerleading, and more are all coming to St. Louis. You can watch all the turns, flips, and tricks live at the Fox Theater. That is June 29th. It starts at 7:30. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
And he has an icon on tonight, Jennifer Aniston, also Sarah Snook and Preacher Lawson. Start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. Thanks for being with us, and we hope you have a great tomorrow.